Hi everybody, it's Tom from Vehicle Visionary. I hope you're having a great day. This is the 2023 version of the Lincoln Corsair. It's the Grand Touring. This is the plug-in hybrid model, and that is pretty easy to see just by the charge port that's located right over here on the driver's side on the fender. And in today's video, we're going to talk about whether or not this is an overly complicated luxury SUV. And when I talk about overly complicated, that has to do with the interior of the vehicle and really more so with the technology. It looks nice, and once you learn it, maybe it's not too bad, but I'm kind of curious to see what you think about it. A very sleek looking vehicle with nice sloping lines as far as the overall design go. A little bit harder to see some of these lines with the exterior color that's on this model. A darker color might accent that a little bit more. But one thing about it is while the roof lines look very nice, they're sloping. The problem with this sloping roof back here is that it can cause some issues with headroom depending on a person's height in the back seat area. But one thing I can definitely tell you about that is that when you're the driver and you're looking through the rear view mirror or using the rear view mirror, looking through this rear window, it doesn't seem to compromise visibility, so that is a good thing. Let's take a closer look at what this all-wheel drive model offers as far as its features and its functionality for the exterior. And here on the front end, it does have that nice, elegant Lincoln look to it. The large Lincoln logo right here, well, maybe I shouldn't say large. Actually, it's not that large. It's decent size, but it seems to fit the proportions of the front grille. LED headlights, LED daytime running lights. I do like the separation here with the blinkers here on the front end. Obviously, it's going to be that way on both sides. A little bit of chrome to kind of accent and give that kind of luxurious look to it, as well as some gloss black. Now, you won't find any active air curtains right here. It kind of looks like that might be an active air curtain at first, but closer inspection shows you that it's not. Now, you will have plenty of air going in through the upper and the lower grills. And nice lines here with the hood design. And I told you this is an all-wheel drive model. Let's talk a little bit more about tire and wheel size. 245 is going to be the width. We're going to have a 45 series sidewall, and it's going to be wrapped around the 20-inch wheels. The Corsair logo here that stands out, and that blue that you're going to see here, well, that's one way you know this is the plug-in hybrid version. Turn signal indicators built into the power adjustable heated side view mirrors. They also are power folding with the gloss black mirror caps. And if you're curious about the remote, well, nothing out of the ordinary as far as that goes, but you can see all of the features that are here as far as that goes for this particular model. And just so you can see it in action, here I will lock the vehicle and you will see the power folding side view mirrors in action. I know a lot of you like that feature. Here under the hood is going to be the combination of the 2-liter inline turbocharged 4-cylinder, and you'll also find an electric motor. 266 horsepower is what you're going to have. And one thing I really liked here, I know not most people who own Lincolns are probably going to do this, but if you do want to open the hood, the good thing is that you pull on the hood release 2 times and you don't have to use a hood latch or anything. You don't have to go hunting around looking for that. And as far as the transmission goes, well, there's what you have in case you were curious. Now, how about MPGs? You can see what you get on fuel economy as far as electricity and gasoline, 78 miles per gallon, gasoline only 33 miles per gallon. That's not very bad. What do you think about this? As far as using electric only, in EV mode, how far can you drive? Well, according to Lincoln, 28 miles. And you can tow up to 2,000 pounds as far as towing capacity goes. There are a number of ways to open this power lift gate. Obviously, with the lift gate itself, there's a button there, there's a button in the interior, there's a button on the remote. Several different ways you can do that. So how about cargo capacity? 27.9 up to 57.6 cubic feet. And the buttons right here allow you to lower the rear seats to maximize cargo capacity. All I have to do is hold that button down. That's going to go down. Now, they do go down automatically, but they come up manually. So as you can see, I'm going to hold that button down. It doesn't bring the seat back up. And you will find the charging cable that does come with the vehicle, and I'm going to get that up and out of the way and show you a couple more things back here that you will expect to see and maybe one that you won't. Here's your cargo lighting. You'll also find the 12-volt power outlet. Now that's nothing out of the ordinary. You can also see the panoramic sunroof from this viewpoint. But I want you to think about something before I say it. What is typically missing from most hybrid models of vehicles out there? What is it? If you pause the video to think about it for a second, well, I'm about to give you the answer, and it's going to be found right here under the floor. It's the spare tire. No tire repair kit here. I think that alone is probably going to cause a lot of people to say, maybe that Lincoln Corsair is a good idea to consider if you're looking for a plug-in hybrid. And when we take a look into the rear seating area, one thing I will say here is, while I can say something positive about the size of the door bin here, it's a reasonable size. I don't feel that the armrests are as comfortable as they could be. It's not bad, but it just doesn't seem to have that padding that you would expect on a luxury model like this. And we'll take a quick look inside. I did bring the power shade forward for the panoramic sunroof, just so you can see that that is indeed there. All of that on the upper console, how you control that, the buttons and everything for that. Here's the fold down armrest with the cup holders built in as far as the rear seating area goes. And then a little bit of storage within this area right here. I wouldn't call them map pockets, more of a net material, but they definitely get the job done. And the rear seat passengers, at least the outboard seats, will be heated. You're gonna have the air conditioning vents right here on the rear of the center console. And something that I like here is that there are plenty of USB connectivity options. That's a good thing. Now, while you do have the heated only seats back here in the rear, the driver and the passenger seat up there in the front, where we're heading next, are heated and ventilated, as well as a heated steering wheel. And for those who haven't skipped around on the video and you're saying, Tom, I want to know what the price of this Lincoln Corsair is as it sits. The sticker on this model is $66,470. You know what that gets you on the exterior, you know what that gets you under the hood, and from the rear door back, how about the front doors forward? Let's take a look. Again, we're going to have that same kind of surprisingly not as comfortable armrest. Now, I don't want it to sound like it's rock hard, but it definitely doesn't have that comfortable kind of push your finger way in kind of feeling you would expect to have there. It's not hard plastic, but still, I would expect a little more from Lincoln. Obviously, you're going to have everything here as far as your seat controls on the door panels instead of being on the seats themselves. A large door bin, a little larger than what we saw with the rear. Now, I'm going to show you everything in the dark in just a little bit, so hang tight. But you do have illuminated door sills with Lincoln right there, and very comfortable seats. They hug your body quite well. That's part of what makes the ride quality of this model so enjoyable. It's very comfortable. That makes a big difference. But what else would you expect from Lincoln? And a quick look across the dash area at all of the design as far as what we have here. And there is a reasonable amount of space here within the glove box. I didn't find any gloves in here, but kind of surprised that my friend who owns it didn't play that trick on me. He's done that before, because I talk about these are normally gloveless glove boxes. There is a good bit of space in there. Now, let's talk a little bit about functionality here. If you want to hide everything away, you can. And I'm going to show you this in the dark too, but here's going to be your wireless charging pad, and your USB is right there. And the shifter, tell me what you think about the shifter. Here is your shifter. So if you're curious about that, well, that is where that is located. And again, we're going to take a closer look at everything here as far as your drive mode selector. There's your cup holders. Just going to do it in the dark because we can today. Not something we normally do. Now, let's see here. I'm going to put my arm on the armrest here that doubles as the lid for the center console. I guess at the right, if your seat is set correctly, you could use that comfortably as an armrest. It just depends on how you set things, but you can see what is here. You can see that you have the removable tray right here and a little bit of space in there. I'd say it's fairly reasonable. That tray is a little challenging to get out and, well, get back in as well. I don't know if I can do that one-handed. Maybe I'm just not that talented. If you run into that problem I was having getting this in, take a look right there. And then you're going to see where that little piece goes. It just goes into the hole right here. Let's see if I can do this one-handed without a problem. A little bit hard to do still. There we go, getting it in there, but there we go. You're also going to have another 12-volt power outlet within that area. And for those who are saying, well, Tom, for over $66,000, what do you get with your upper console? Well, there is everything that you have, pretty much everything you would expect to see. You do have a sunglass holder right here. And the good thing is that you can program everything here for your garage door. I know a lot of you like that, and I can't say that I blame you. Okay, we're going to take a look at everything here first in the daylight, just so you can see everything really well. And then I'll show you what it looks like after dark as well, or at least in the dark. No surprises here as far as the controls and switches and features here on the driver's side door panel. You will find the controls for adjusting your seats and your seat memory right there. And by the way, have you ever noticed that your controls for adjusting the seats are in the shape of the seat? You may not have seen that before now. You'll never be able to unsee it. And right here will be the control for turning your exterior lights, front and rear lights, on and off. The switch right here, or button if you want to call it that, is for adjusting the tilt and telescopically adjustable steering wheel. And we'll reach right up here and hit the push button start and let you see what happens with the infotainment screen and the graphics that are here. A really nice look, I would say. And while the infotainment screen is really the more complicated area that we're going to be looking at in just a little bit, the instrument cluster, well, not too terribly bad. It looks nice. It has a good look to it. You'll see some things that will change depending on the driving modes that we go into. Let's just take a quick look at that. I'm going to show you all of the driving modes once we get into the after dark version of everything. But just so you can see what all is here, you do have Blue Cruise, which is going to be basically semi-autonomous driving. And that's what this is going to help out. That's part of that, to keep up with the driver, what the driver's doing and all that kind of stuff. Now, depending on the vehicles you've looked at in the past, this one will not change lanes by itself and do things like that, but it will drive itself in the lane that you're in. Just things to think about. I don't know that I'll be able to demonstrate that on our test drive. It just depends on the lines on the road. But you can see what we have here with our steering wheel mounted controls. That elegant look, but you do have the piano black, which can be kind of a challenge to deal with. And on the rear of this area on each side, you're going to find controls for the radio and all that good stuff there. So, pretty simple to use, pretty simple to figure out. Now, I did want to show you the shifter right here with the ignition and everything turned on so you can see what we have. I am curious to know what you think about that. You do have a good old school volume and button here, knob to control the radio and turn that on and off if you want to. And you can also see what is here. Now, I am going to go right here into our rear view camera and ultimately front view camera as well. And I don't think this model has, yes it does. It actually does have a front camera washer. I didn't know that. And if you're wondering, well, how'd you do that, Tom? So here's the thing. The way these front camera washers work, without Tom getting tongue twisted, on every vehicle that I've done so far that has a front camera washer, all you have to do is run the windshield washer fluid and it's automatically going to spray that stream of windshield washer fluid across the front camera. So you can see what happens there. Pretty easy to deal with. If you want to change views, you do have a couple of different options here as far as what you can do. You can see what we have right there. You can also see our rear view. Pretty simple to deal with. The overhead view as well, you can zoom in if you need to, and you can see that you can do that literally everywhere. That's a very nice feature. And while the Lincoln Corsair is not a full-size SUV, you never know when you might get in a situation where it might be helpful to take advantage of these cameras, especially if somebody didn't do a good job of parking around you, or maybe you didn't do a good job of parking around somebody else, and you need to make sure you don't hit their car. But you wouldn't do that, would you? Okay. I know, it's funny, it's all right. Laugh. That's a good thing about making it to this point in the video, is that, well, you need a little bit of comic relief. And when you turn the vehicle off, that's what's going to happen. You do have your rear seat reminder right there. And everything that happens when you get out of the vehicle. Just in case you're curious to know what happens, you'll get the graphics there again on the screen. Yeah, just a little bit of added value, I would say. And here's a special little treat for you in today's video. I don't always have the opportunity to film indoors and show you what everything looks like basically in the dark as far as your exterior lighting goes, but I really like the way everything looks with the lighting here on the rear. The fact that it goes all the way across, it just fits. It kind of fits the brand of Lincoln, I would say, a little bit more of a luxurious look. And then from this vantage point, and I'll give you one from the inside too, you can see those nice bright LED headlights. And real quick, let's look at the back seat area and see how that looks. You can see some of the ambient lighting right here and very bright interior lights as far as the overall lighting itself goes. We'll hop inside here real quick and just take a look from this particular vantage point. Like I say, something we don't normally do here, but that will give you an idea of what everything looks like when you're driving around after dark. I know a lot of these videos don't normally show this kind of stuff. In case you're curious to know, well, now you know. And one thing that I noticed that's interesting, notice how the ambient lighting within the area where the door handle is found is green, then it turns red when you open the door. Christmas colors of sorts. Well, obviously, there's other reasons for that too. And while the doors are open, you will have illuminated door handles. That just makes it a little bit easier to be able to reach up here and know where to grab. And another thing that I like to mention here, since it's on right now, I want to show you right here, your keypad. Make sure you program that. There's not a lot of vehicles out there that have these beyond the Lincolns and the Fords. I'm starting to actually see it on some of the GMC trucks. I've seen it on some of the HDs, but just so you know, that's something you can program. You can do that within the infotainment system. And illuminated door sills. Obviously, this is going to be on both sides here. And we'll hop on inside and give a little bit better look at everything as far as what it looks like in the dark. There is the head-up display. I don't know how well that's actually showing up compared to what you might want to see. Let's see if we can give you a little bit. There we go. A little better view. Something that's not always possible to do, but that's what you have there. And there are the LED headlights as far as that goes. There are your high beams. So if you're curious about that, that's what it looks like. And overall, this is going to be from the driver's perspective, how everything looks with everything illuminated. Kind of an interesting look right there with the camera. I don't know why it's doing that. That's very interesting. I haven't seen that before. I was not seeing that in real time. So very interesting. It's almost as if we're at some kind of a disco ball kind of thing, or a dance or something, a disco ball kind of thing. Yeah, that gives you a good reason to laugh. But I think we'll have to probably show you some of this outside as well. But one thing I did want to focus on, just the overall look here. You can see all of the illumination within the interior. One thing that I thought was very interesting is the location of the start-stop button for the engine. It's right here. I was looking up here out of habit. I even, because of some of the Volvos I've been in, looked down here, and then I realized, oh, it's right there. And keep in mind, a lot of these Lincolns being marketed to people that are more of the senior citizen, I should say, without getting tongue twisted. Well, I think the biggest thing here is the overly complicated, at least in my opinion, infotainment screen. So if you're wanting to know how to adjust the air conditioner, well, you have to be here. You can push auto right there, and you can change the fan speed. You can see 3 different speeds there if you want to do that. Or you can go right here and do that as well. And that's not that terribly difficult, but I know a lot of people don't like to have that as far as their infotainment screen goes. You'll also have to be here to adjust the temperature, and you do have your heated and ventilated seats. So not necessarily a big deal, but if you were sitting here saying, okay, I want to use Apple CarPlay or Android Auto, where do I go for that? Go to apps right here, and there it is, these 2 options right here. But it's interesting, you don't have a home button, it's actually right there. So the Lincoln logo is basically your home button. And you do have built-in navigation, but I tell you what, some of this stuff just seems a little bit overly complicated to deal with, kind of hard to find, at least for me. Now, maybe after you've had one of these for a while, not a big deal. But the thing is, for me personally, a lot of the time, I like to tell people, these systems you can use the hunt and peck method to find your way around. There is so much here that it would take you all day long to use the hunt and peck method, I think, to find your way around. It's not that you can't do it, but I just feel that it's a little bit more complicated than it should be, especially for the age range that it's typically marketed to. That doesn't mean that you have to be in your 60s or 70s or 80s to drive one of these. Heck, the owner's wife is in her 30s that drives this, I believe. She might be in her late 20s. I'm not sure. Sorry, Stacy, if I got your age wrong there, but who knows? She might be 25. I don't really know, but anyway, having a little fun with that because I know that my friends are probably going to watch this video. But you can see what's here and how it works. For me personally, I think it is a little bit more difficult than it should be. What do you think? Maybe you've seen these before, maybe you own one. I will say that it has a nice modern look and feel to it, that's for sure. In fact, we'll go back to where we were right there. Let's go into driver assistance. Let's see if it'll come up. There we go. So you can see what's here. You have auto hold, cruise control, speed limit assist. You can see what all is here. Once you find these things, it's not that difficult to deal with them. It's just finding them to begin with. So that's one of the things. And this model does have Blue Cruise. So I don't know if I'll be able to demonstrate that on the, hey, let's dance again. I don't know if I'll be able to demonstrate that on the test drive. Probably going to have to be out on the interstate to do that, and I'm probably not going that direction in today's video. It would be nice to have a physical button somewhere if you were maybe on a different screen other than the home screen and you're thinking, man, I just want to go home, and you could just push that button and it would take you back to the home screen. But that's just my thoughts on the matter. And just a quick look down across the center console area to show you what all is here as far as your wireless charging pad, USB connectivity, and you can close that area off if you want to. You can see your illuminated cup holders, and here's your drive mode selector. Let's take a look at what our driving modes are. Let's see if I can get rid of some of that flashing to help out with this a little bit, but we can see what we have here. There we go. We're going to go through our modes and show you what all is here. Let's go back this way. And if you want to get into your EV mode, this is actually how you're going to do it. We're going to work our way around here. And there's normal. And there is going to be EV. Let's see, let's go one more time here. Let's move over here. There is pure EV. And that's how you actually do that. So you don't actually, as far as I know at least, have to wait for the vehicle to actually get into that mode. But some nice graphics up there, I would say, for what you have with the vehicle. That's one thing I really like about these Lincoln models, is that they do have some very nice graphics, Fords and Lincolns, as far as the screens go. Okay, here we go on the test drive. And as I said earlier in the video, one of the great characteristics of this Corsair is the fact that it has a nice, comfortable ride quality. Probably not a surprise to most people. And it does handle pretty well. It's not a sports car, but I tell you what, it will get the job done. Being all-wheel drive, that's going to have its benefits, especially in the snow. So if you live in an area where you deal with a lot of snow and ice, well, that has its benefits. And you have your different driving modes to choose from as far as what your given situation might be. And something else that I must say here that I'm impressed with, I like the size of the head-up display. It offers a lot of information up there and definitely is very easy to see. Now, how about acceleration? I know a lot of people are probably going to wonder about that. Let's see here. You know, I know that some may say this is an underpowered model, and if you compare it to the, say, Volvo XC90 plug-in hybrid, well, it definitely is a difference because it makes, I think, 401 horsepower, something in that range. This one definitely at 266 horsepower, it gets the job done. And as I've probably said more times than I needed to in the video, for the segment that Lincolns are typically marketed towards, 266 horsepower is enough, although I do have a friend in his mid-80s that has a 560 horsepower Range Rover Velar, the SV Autobiography. So age doesn't always mean being a slowpoke. That's the truth. Sometimes it can go both ways. But one way or another, the only thing that I can say here that is a little bit of a challenge for at least myself is going to be with that infotainment screen. A little bit more complicated than I think it needs to be. I don't know, maybe if I drove one every single day, it wouldn't be a problem. It would be easy to learn and use. But again, I'm not driving this every single day. But I like the fact that while I don't have the seat set perfectly for myself, not trying to make too many changes here, even though I have seat memory over here to use if I wanted to, but for my friend's wife who daily drives this model, I try not to get things too out of whack for her. I already moved a couple of things, and it's just the way it goes. But one way or another, without having the seat in an ideal position for myself, I'm comfortable. I don't feel crowded. I could probably drop the seat a little bit lower and it wouldn't be an issue. Overall, very enjoyable, comfortable interior. The steering wheel itself is nice and comfortable. It is a heated steering wheel. You have those heated and ventilated seats. It would be nice to see some physical buttons for the air conditioning and for the heated steering wheel, heated seats, all that good stuff. What do you think about that? It seems that some of the higher end vehicles are going more and more towards having everything in the infotainment screen. So for some people that might work, for some people it might not. It just depends on who you are and what your situation is, but everybody is different. Now, we're gonna get on out here on the road and see, let's see how we're gonna do here. I'm at about half throttle. Getting up to the speed limit, not a big deal. I have a couple of vehicles that are driving a little under. I want to give this Jeep room to get over. It's that truck's on the side of the road right there. And for those who might say, Tom, you're sure camping out on the right or left-hand lane. This is not an interstate highway. It's not an issue. There's no signs on this road that say you need to stay in the right-hand lane unless you're passing. And that's one of the things that you know about that for the people who I have had people say that in my videos before. See all these places where you can turn left? Well, guess what? That should tell you something right there. So that's just the way it goes. I've had some funny comments from people who don't necessarily know what they're looking at, but I'm curious to know, based on what you're looking at, what do you think about this Lincoln Corsair? If you were curious about where that front camera is located, it's right here underneath the Lincoln logo. That's what it is right there. So tell me what you think down in the comments section. I do have a lot of great things to say about this Lincoln Corsair, but I believe that the infotainment screen is a little overly complicated. At least that's my personal opinion. Tell me what you think about it. Maybe some of you watching this video have owned one of these models and are saying, well, Tom, I think it's really simple to use, or maybe not, but I'm always curious to know. So tell me what you think down in the comments section. I do want to say a special thanks to my friends who loaned me their new vehicle for the day so I could tell you all about it. I also would like to say a special thanks to each and every one of you for being kind enough to give me the opportunity to give you a vision for your next vehicle. If you enjoyed this video and would like to learn about additional vehicles you may wish to consider purchasing, check out the video that's on the screen right now, and I will see you there.